Word of prayer. Our Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for all of your blessings. We ask you to impart your wisdom, your knowledge, and your understanding on this board as we make the best decisions for Greensville County. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
All right, Ms. Wiggins, Mr. Kane, Mr. Thompson,
Here.
Dr. Chapman,
Here.
Mr. Robinson. Here. Ms. Bird, Ms. Hardy,
Here.
Mr. Antoine, Mr. Flowers. First, before we get started, I would like to welcome Ms. Hardy. This is her first meeting, and she picked a heck of a first meeting.
Thank you.
Can we get a motion to approve our agenda?
So moved.
Get a second. It's been moved and properly second to approve the agenda. All in favor, use the voting sign aye. Those opposed, same sign. And the approval of the agenda has passed. And can we get a motion to go into public hearing to hear SP 2 2026 MEC Emporia Greensville site?
Need to do the minutes first. Approve the minutes.
I apologize. Can we get a motion to approve our minutes? Motion.
Second.
And we get a, it has been moved and properly second to approve the minutes. All in favor, voting sign aye. Aye. Those opposed, and the motion for the approval of minutes has passed. Now, can we get a motion to go in, public hearing to hear item A on our agenda?
So moved.
Second. All right, we will go into public hearing for SP 2 2026. Do we have to do a vote? It was moved and properly second to go in public hearing for SP 2 2026 MEC Emporia Greensville site. All in favor, use the voting sign aye. Aye. Those opposed, we are in public hearing.
All right, first case tonight is SP 2 2026. It's Mecklenburg Electric Cooperative. I'm just going to kind of briefly go over the staff report. I'm not going to read it in its entirety. I assume everybody has read it. But Mecklenburg is requesting special use permit to construct a public utility service yard. The property that is subject of this special use permit request is located on the west corner of Russell Road and Grassy Pond Road and located in the Dalefield Electric District. The subject property is currently zoned A1 agricultural. A public utility service center and storage yard is typically defined as a facility owned by a public utility company that may include business offices, a dispatching center, a fence yard for storage of vehicles and materials, and related to the maintenance, construction, and repair of utility transmission lines, substation service lines, and other such facilities. Such service and storage yards may include shop facilities for service and repair equipment. As I stated, the property is located in the A1 agricultural district. So if we look at the zoning ordinance, you will find that in Article 4, Table 4.1, permitted uses, that a public utility service yard is allowed within the A1 district with the issuance of a special use permit. When granting a special use permit, the Board of Supervisors may impose conditions that will ensure the proposed use will not be detrimental to the community or surrounding area. In 2016, the same property, which was owned by Mr. Richard Short, who was doing business as Real Tree Wood Corporation, applied for a special use permit to develop and establish an agricultural machinery service shop and office for his timber operation. He never did pursue that because he bought a facility in the city's industrial park. When we look at the comprehensive plan, we find that the subject property is located in a rural area on the comp plan's future land use plan. Rural areas contain a mix of agricultural, forestry, open space, solar, and low-density residential uses. Rural areas are inappropriate for high-density residential development high-intensity commercial and industrial uses. Small-scale local services that are compatible with low-density residential and agricultural land uses may be appropriate and should be considered on a case-by-case basis. All right, after reviewing the zoning ordinance and comprehensive plan, staff feels that the applicant's request is consistent with the goals and strategies set forth by the county. Even though the property is located within a rural area of the county's future land use plan, the comp plan states that small-scale local services that are compatible with the surrounding area may be appropriate. Being that the property is located in close proximity to Highway 58, and the fact that it's already a commercial business located within close proximity, staff feels that the location of this project will be compatible with the surrounding area. Staff recommends approval of the applicant's request with the 6 conditions listed. If you have any questions of me, I will be glad to answer, but a representative from Mecklenburg is here, and I'm sure he wants to get up and say a few words. So if you have any initial questions for staff. Mr. Lipscomb, if you want to get up and speak to the planning commission.
Ladies and gentlemen of the commission, we're certainly appreciative for you guys considering our application tonight. One of the things that as a utility, as Mecklenburg Electric Power serving Greensville County, we've been in our existing building for 65 years. And we continue to grow, but it's also imperative that we are prepared to grow as Greensville County grows and the service territory that the cooperative serves. We serve out of that office 9,000 locations in both Greensville County, the city of Emporia, Sussex, Southampton, Brunswick, all out of that office, and this site is centrally located there and provides a great opportunity for us to continue to grow, continue to serve. And we also think that it's a great spot for us to reside and meet and work within in that area. So any questions you guys might have of me?
Are y'all moving your main operation there?
Yes, sir. Our Emporia district office will be located at this site. So
Will y'all keep the other locations still
for a short time, Jeff, we've got the microwave tower that's there, and we'll continue to retain it for that purpose. But at some point in time, we'll certainly move that property along. So
You're really looking forward to this project, aren't you?
we have held off as long as we could. And we have worked at different times and looked to find the right spot, and now it's time. It's time to move forward. One of the things that as we're looking for big things to happen here, you guys have talked about a number of them, and growth in our communities, industrial, commercial. We've got to be prepared for that. So it's time.
I don't know, it was a question or statement. I know you said 30 employees. Are there, the new ones or some will be part of the already existing?
That would be, Mr. King, that would be the existing employees that we have.
Okay, so we're not actually getting new employees, they'll be the same ones?
Those would be the employees that.
And maybe I get what type of salary they'll maintain what they already have.
Oh, yes, sir. They'll stay right where the salaries won't go down, but I mean, as you guys know, line work and utility, jobs are good jobs, so.
And of course, you get them at 50, so.
Okay. Oh, well, we would love to be a little closer.
We appreciate what y'all do in the community, for sure.
So we certainly appreciate that. It's interesting, and it's, when you walk into a place of business, during hours, after hours, you run into the folks that we serve, and it makes a difference when that's the case. So, thank you, sir.
Y'all do an excellent job in maintaining our lines and the communication. I've had some trees cut off of the Mecklenburg right of way recently, and they really didn't need to call and ask because you got the right of way. But Craig Phelps called me and talked to me about it. And, the communication was great. Y'all could have it was not required that you ask me. So that was, it was great communication, and we do appreciate that. When we have a problem, y'all are quick on it too.
We've had a couple instances here at the office and in the landfill recently. We lost all power to the landfill with the line. that falling on the ground. And I'm glad they're located in Greensville, because if they didn't come from Chase City or wherever, this one's time would have been a whole lot longer. And they got us back up and running in a short order. So thank y'all for that.
We are appreciative to do that.
This is a little facetious, but I'm gonna ask you. We're still trying to get, the internet, and I'm probably about 200 yards away from it because of the train track, and of course, I did talk about that, and he explained to me, it's about cost. What they want, the railroad want to charge you just to go over there to bring internet.
We will, I'll do some digging in that area, Mr. Kane.
Right?
Huh?
You're on Dominion and Mecklenburg.
I got both, I need to be both.
I'm talking about electric.
I'm on Mecklenburg.
I will do some checking there, but one of the things that we do continue to do, we're continuing to work with Lynn, regularly, on Empower, bringing internet to the community. You know, and it's continuing to move, and, we'll continue to work to complete the areas that we have received grant funding. And, I think next year is when that's scheduled to be completed.
You're right at my house, but the thing that's blocking you is the railroad track. And when I talked to the delegate, he said what they want to charge you on is just an unbelievable price.
It can be, but, I'm sure there are other folks that are there as well, but I'll catch up with you.
I'm only about 200.
I will talk to our folks, because I'm sure you're not the only one, so.
No, I got a whole bunch of folks on the other side complaining to me because they can't get in.
Well, that's even more reason to take a little extra look at it, so. But, you know, one of the things that, providing service is important to us, and being in the community is important, so, and having facilities that allow us to do that are important. And, you know, it will also give us a base of operation to work out of with Empower as well, so. It gives us a little gives us some extra opportunity.
Well, Mr. Kane, I've got Empower. I can tell you it's really good.
Yeah, rub it in, Chris.
Yeah, rub it in.
Okay, I've been fighting this, and they started on the south side. And then they finally came to the north side, I'm still waiting.
I'll have some conversations with our crew, so we'll figure out what's going on there.
I called, they said, we don't have a clue.
I'll get a clue for you, how about
Okay,
that?
I appreciate that. 804, 894.
I'll tell you what, I'll get it from Lynn though. Any questions, folks? We appreciate you guys looking out for our communities, and appreciate the effort that you each give to this community, so thank you so much.
Do we have anyone else that wants to comment?
Anybody in favor or against this, welcome to comment. Got one.
Good evening, I'm Angela Wilson, 4015 Slavos Lake Road, and as a member of the Board of Directors of Mecklenburg Electric Co-op, I just would like to endorse the project. We have received a lot of information, and we're all very excited about it. And so I just want to add my endorsement to the project and the information that David has shared. I think it will bring added value to the community, and I hope you will approve to have it go forward. Thank you.
Anyone else? We're gonna hand it, I recommend we go back of public hearing and go back in the regular session so we can take action on this, and then we'll go back in the public hearing for the next case, because I don't want to keep everybody here for the duration of the meeting. They're welcome to stay, but
Can we get a motion to go back in regular session?
Second.
It's been moved and second that we go back into regular session. All in favor, voting sign aye. Those opposed? Back in regular session. What do you guys think? We need a discussion? Take a look.
I'd like to make a motion to approve this application.
Second. Yeah, I'll second it.
okay, I heard somebody else, I'm sure.
Can we get a roll call?
All right. Mr. Kane? Aye. Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
Dr. Chapman,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Ms. Byrd,
Yes.
Ms. Hardy,
Yes.
Mr. Antoine,
Yes.
Mr. Flowers, sorry. Motion unanimously passed 7-0.
Great.
This will be heard at the Board of Supervisors meeting the first Monday of July, the 6th. That was just before.
Great. Now we need a motion to go into public hearing for SP 2026 Jewel Associates / Verizon Wireless.
I make a motion.
Second?
It's been moved and second that we go into public hearing for the Jewel Associates and Verizon Wireless. All in favor, voting sign aye. Opposed? And we're back in public hearing.
All right, SP 2026, sale code partnership doing business with Verizon Wireless seeks a special use permit from the Board of Supervisors to construct and operate a 190-foot self-support monopole telecommunication tower with a 4-foot lightning rod, together with the related wireless antennas and equipment on approximately 2,500 square foot portion of a referenced 3-acre parcel, which is on A1 agriculture. There's a copy of the application in your packet. The proposed tower will be located within a 50-foot by 50-foot fenced compound within the 5,625 square foot leased area near the southeastern corner of the property and approximately 145 feet from Taylor's Mill. So they're renting 5,600 acres. They'll have the small 50 by 50 compound tower will be built in. When we look at the zoning ordinance, the subject property is A1 agricultural, and the communications tower is a use that is allowed within the A1 district with the issuance of a special use permit by the Greensville County Board of Supervisors. Article 19 of the zoning ordinance was established to provide general guidelines for the site of telecommunication towers and antennas. When we look at the comprehensive plan, the comp plan recognized the importance of cellular communication and broadband for emergency services and economic development. In addition, the comp plan's implementation strategy section suggested the county support the site of towers and antennas through code updates as necessary to improve cellular service coverage throughout the county. The availability of reliable cellular communication towers is a measure of a community's infrastructure capability. Improved communications like water and wastewater improvements may have a favorable bearing on economic development efforts. The proposed tower is critical to Verizon's goal of providing state-of-the-art capacity for voice and data services in Greensville County. This tower will service the Taylor's Mill area just about a mile from its intersection with Little Low Ground Road, and will be available to all the businesses and residences in the surrounding area. Because there are no other existing towers or tall structures in the area which Verizon could co-locate its antennas, Verizon is seeking a special use permit in order to construct and operate this tower. If you look at the applicant's application sheet C4, you'll see a zoning drawing of proposed telecommunication tower. Like I said, it'll be 95 foot tall, 4-foot height rod, with an overall height of 199 feet. And it's designed to accommodate up to 3 users, including Verizon Wireless. There's also, if you look at Exhibit E, a structural letter from Hillary Siegel, engineer, dated March 24th of 2026, included with this application that verifies that the telecommunication tower will be designed to collapse within a 35-foot radius at ground level, which is entirely comfortable within the leased area. The antenna tower has been designed so as not to interfere with the county's public safety communication system. Submitted with the application, you'll see Exhibit H, which is a radio frequency interference analysis report, which was prepared by Sunline. The applicants application meets the intended requirements of the Greensville County zoning ordinance. Being that the applicant's application is in conformance with both the zoning ordinance and the comp plan, staff recommends approval of the SUP application subject to the conditions listed below. And they're the typical conditions we used on all the previous cities when I was in the county. Staff have any questions regarding staff report?
I think this area of the county could really use this.
Yeah. If nobody has any questions, Mr. Rue Da Silva is here from Verizon, and that's not really.
I'm a sidekick. Good evening, Chair, members of the Planning Commission and staff. For the record, my name is Lisa Murphy, and I'm local zoning counsel for the applicant, Selco Partnership, which does business as Verizon Wireless. And with me tonight is Huey Da Silva, who's available to answer any technical questions that you might have. I appreciate Mr. Pope's presentation because he really covered just about everything that I could want to say. The matter before you is SP-3-2026. The proposed site, as I think Mr. Robinson identified, is in an area that really is underserved. So if you look at the network map, which I think is Exhibit B in the application, you'll see the proposed site is labeled Taylor's Mill proposed site, and it's identified with a red pin. If you look at that, that circle shows a radius of 5 miles. There is nothing within 5 miles, except to the northwest, there's a yellow pin that identifies an antenna site that Verizon is already operating on, and that's the one called Skipper's 153. So if you look at that whole area, the closest site is just under 5 miles away. And that's the reason for the what you're experiencing as far as the need. And so why is there so much need? You know, it used to be in the late 90s and the early 2000s when I started doing this, cell phones were nice to have, not a have to have. If you fast forward to today, you look at the statistics, and by December of 2025, 78% of people were wireless only at home, which means folks expect to be able to use their wireless device when they're at home. They don't want to have to go out onto the front porch and, you know, look for a signal or tell somebody I got to walk in a different room so I can get a signal. It really is critically important to have that. And, you know, with add into that COVID and folks having to work from home, having to educate from home, all the things now that we do with wireless devices, it really is critical to have that infrastructure. And as Mr. Pope identified, it's infrastructure. It's like wastewater. It's, you know, it is a public utility essentially, even though they're not treated like public utilities. But it's critical for citizens, for businesses, and it's an investment that Verizon Wireless very much wants to make in your community. I went over the network map. Mr. Pope, as I said, did an excellent job. You know, when we have a need for a wireless structure, so the last thing a carrier wants to do is build a tower. It costs a lot of money and takes a lot of time. That's the short version of that. If there was something there, they would hang antennas on it. So the good news about this structure is that it will provide an opportunity for not only Verizon, but for 2 other users. So if you don't have Verizon and you live in the area, there's still an opportunity for AT&T or T-Mobile or somebody else to locate their antennas on top of this structure. It is a very passive use, but when we look for a site, and that's Huey's job is to go out and look for the sites, you look for a large parcel of land like this one. You look for natural buffering in along the north and the northwest portion of this property. You've got some forested wetlands where you're not going to have development. And you've got the ability to put this in a location where it's going to have a very limited impact on the surrounding users and the citizens. And you want to find a place where you get the benefit and the most benefit from the facility with as little impact as possible, recognizing that you can't hide a 195-foot monopole. So that's really, again, Huey's job is to find the perfect location and to find a spot that satisfies the requirements of the zoning ordinance, and also meets the requirements of your comprehensive plan. And as Mr. Pope indicated, staff's analysis is that this does satisfy the requirements of your zoning ordinance and your comprehensive plan in a manner that has a very little impact on the surrounding area. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. We would respectfully request that you approve or recommend for approval SP 3-2026. Tried to keep this quick because I know you guys have a lot of other things on your agenda for tonight, and I don't want to keep you here too long, but happy to answer any specific questions that you might have, and who is here as well.
Do I have any questions?
It's a very thorough package y'all put together for us. Very most part.
I appreciate you reading the package that we put together, and I know Mr. Pope did as well. Yeah, we appreciate that because it does take time to pull all the pieces together. All right. Thank you so much.
Do we have anyone that wants to make any comments, questions, concerns? I just want to say, although I can't vote on this, the house is in that red circle. And thank you. Since we don't have any other public comments, can we get a motion to go back into regular session?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we go back into regular session. All in favor? Those opposed? We're back in regular session. Any discussion?
I will let y'all know we're working with Verizon and Rue and his team on some other towers too, so.
When an iron.
Good deal.
I do agree with her. It's kind of sad sometimes we get to go by the, stand by the lifeline pole to talk to somebody.
Still have to go outside and move the different rooms in the house.
Right.
I'll make a motion that we approve, this project as presented.
Second that.
It's been moved and properly second to approve SP 3-2026 Jewel Associates Ltd. and Verizon Wireless. We can roll call vote.
Okay, Mr. Kane. Aye. Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Dr. Chapman. Mr.
Abstain.
Robinson. Oh,
Yes.
yes, and.
I have to say no vote.
You were saying,
There's no vote because of conflict of interest.
Jeff Robinson,
Yes.
Ms. Byrd,
Yes.
Ms. Hardy,
Yes.
Mr. Antoine.
Yes.
All right, the motion carried 6-0 to 1.
Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. Yes, folks. Now, can we get a motion to go back in public hearing for ZTA 1-2026 battery energy storage systems, BESS?
All right, give me a second to shuffle my paper.
So yeah, so moved.
Second. It's been moved and properly second to go back in public hearing to hear the matters of ZTA 1-2026 battery energy storage systems operating as BESS. All in favor? Position. All right, we are in public hearing.
All right, now, a lot of the comments I will make pertain to this and the next two cases.
Okay.
I think y'all are well aware of the legislation that was just signed into law by the Virginia General Assembly as it pertains to battery energy storage systems and solar projects. So I gave y'all copies of those two bills as they were approved. So I assume everybody read it, so I don't have to take the time. We got a lot of people here tonight to read the entire bill. But anyway, with that, we need to put items in the zoning ordinance and the comprehensive plan, being that we have to consider these projects. So the first, well, I had to mark the group here to get the staff report, but anyway, Michael, you're gonna come up and give the staff report for the BESS system. So basically, this is a new ordinance to address battery energy storage systems. And Michael's from the Berkeley group that is very well versed in this topic. So I'll turn it over to Michael.
Thank you, Lynn. Michael Zahner, Director of Planning and Community Development at Berkeley Group, and as Lynn indicated, we've been helping the county. We've helped the county for years, as some of you know, with the third-party review for solar projects and occasionally BESS and data centers. And we've been working with Greensville County as well as other localities on amendments to respond to the recent law changes. So as Lynn indicated, there's really three actions tonight. The first would be to establish, and I'm scrolling myself, so bear with me, would essentially be to establish provisions in the zoning ordinance under Article 3. These would be additional general regulations specific to accessory battery energy storage facilities. As the law mandates now, the county is required to allow accessory battery energy storage as by right to any utility scale solar project that has a special exception, or in your case, a use permit. So we've made provisions for that throughout, defined what those facilities are, specifically battery energy storage and then also accessory. With Lynn's direction, we've not accommodated for standalone battery energy storage facilities. So you're not required to do that, but this would establish only allowance for accessory battery energy storage, accessory to solar facilities. So following the definitions, you have minimum development standards, and then siting and setbacks and screening, utility requirements, emergency access, security fencing, decommissioning requirements. And I believe that's it. An emergency plan, pretty standard. And I will tell you today, Lynn let us know actually yesterday, we had some comments from Dominion regarding the applicable NFPA code provision, National Fire Protection Association, and it's NFPA 855. So based on Dominion's comments, we came up with a few slight changes to the provisions. The first would be under configuration.
Then Mark can read on that.
And it's really 4 changes throughout. So the first would be under configuration. The second would be under construction, maintenance, and operation. The third would be a strike through under subpart 4 of that same construction, maintenance, and operations section. And then I believe it's, well, not the last. The next one would be under utilities regarding the provision of water on site. And then lastly, regarding emergency access. And essentially, what these changes are in response to, so there's different provisions of the NFPA 855 regulation that establish, at least on the first part, different fire suppression requirements or allowances, depending on the type of battery energy storage facility. And Dominion's comments were really in response to the potential for these modular or mobile BESS facilities, instead of ones that may be more in a building facility. So what we've added here is a caveat that basically originally it said under configuration, the BESS shall provide a secondary layer of physical containment to the batteries and be equipped with cooling, ventilation, and/or fire suppression systems. And correctly, the NFPA, depending on the type of system, does not require or even in some cases recommend a fire suppression system. So what we added here is as may be required by applicable codes and standards. So it's not an absolute, but it's subject to the applicable codes and standards as it applies to the facility that they're proposing.
Hey, can we back up for a second?
Yes.
So what this is this what's currently in our zoning ordinance?
No, we're looking to adopt these tonight. We don't have
Brand
anything,
spanking new.
we don't have anything in the ordinance related to battery energy
I didn't
storage
think
system.
so.
So what happened is the NFPA 855 just recently changed with these new requirements, so we had to kind of take out what's.
So that's what the red is.
That's what the red is, yes.
Gotcha. Sorry, I was.
That's okay, just like the building code, every couple of years about that.
Apologies if I blew
No,
past that.
no worries.
Well, we had to fast track this,
We have.
everything was signed into law, it's hard for us to be, this July 1st deadline, we have to have a special call.
We talked about this, but
Before
we
July
had less
1st.
than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's when we got the big special call meeting on the 24th. Not, you don't do anything between then and June the 30th, we in trouble.
Good.
Yeah, essentially, the way the law reads it, your regulations for accessory battery energy storage are as they are as of July 1. So if you have none as of July 1, then you have none. And you can't adopt any that would apply after that date for projects that have applied for an interconnection application through 2030. So you could hypothetically condition future solar projects to deal with accessory battery energy storage, but you could not retroactively address ones that have a permit today. So in this case, having these in place would allow you to impose these regulations on battery facilities that may be added to projects that have been approved previously.
So I have a question relative to the setbacks that are listed in here. Did the General Assembly relative to BES set any setbacks, or are we allowed to set setbacks as we so choose?
They did not specifically in the legislation, and there's nothing in the state code currently. There is some language in the law in terms of the focus of what the regulations can be, really with respect to fire and safety and the like. So I think if you would want to have a justifiable reason to impose setbacks with respect to that.
Well, this thermal energy runway, I think that's a very significant that we've seen all over the country with these things catching on fire, and local fire departments say all they can do is watch them burn, and it is known fact. I don't know if we have any best people here today that will tell me different, but I known fact that they do release toxins into the atmosphere of the air we breathe. So I think the setbacks are very important, and I'm glad the legislature didn't dictate on this.
Yeah, and it's important to note, so essentially the state law states that you have to allow them as a by right use
Right.
on any solar project, but anywhere on the parcel subject to that use permit. So technically, on its face, minimally, they could be anywhere on a parcel, even outside of the development area associated with the solar project, because I think we all know that sometimes solar projects come in and they're on a portion of a parcel. That entire parcel is subject to the use permit. So yes, setbacks may be for justifiable reasons, and I can't say I disagree with you that that's a valid reason. Essentially, again, going back to the NFPA 855, we wanted to make sure, in the next part, there is a caveat, and this is under B, construction, maintenance, and operation, and then you have numbered standards under that 5. There was an existing in the original draft, the last part of that opening paragraph, and unless otherwise required by such regulations and codes. So, reading that, I felt like, because Dominion had some comments about the numbered parts, the numbered standards, unless otherwise required by such regulation and code, I felt like was sufficient, but we clarified it further and said, unless otherwise required or rendered inapplicable by such regulation and code. So those numbered parts only apply if they apply under the code. And there were ones, again, fire suppression that they were concerned about. The way I would interpret that is that fire suppression is only going to be required if it's required under the code. If it's not required, then it's not going to be required.
Lean, a lot of these locations are so remote, there's no public water.
Well, I can touch on that really quick. I'll touch on that real quick. So with respect to the water, right now it said in the original public water or an existing commercial well. We struck an existing. It could be provided through a commercial well. Dominion asked about whether or not they could have tanks and would want that modified to potentially allow 4 tanks to be sited on there. And that may or may not be up to your discretion. I would tell you, when I looked at the NFPA 855 today, it does say a permanent water source has to be provided. And I'm not sure if there's a distinction depending on the battery type, but that may be in your best interest from a safety standpoint, that there be, some type of water source dedicated, maybe permanent, maybe required by the NFPA, provided on site. And then we just clarified access, correctly. No one is allowed to access the interior of these during operation. And we also clarified that emergency personnel must be given, instead of a key or code to access, we clarified appropriate and necessary access to the facility. And that may mean just fire access panels on the exterior of the facility. So that's this part of it. The second part would be the amendment to Article 4, which is the use table. And I can go over that really quickly, and also note for you a typo that I just found. So the use table would be table 4.1. And what we've proposed here is to list accessory battery energy storage facility. And again, it has to be listed essentially in every district where solar is allowed, and that should be an R instead of a U.
Michael, I had a list of the separate cases.
Okay, I can come back and talk about that one. Okay.
That'll be the next case, we talk about Article 4.
Yeah, come back. Let's go back.
Yes.
I just want to know if it's a commercial, permanent use of water, would that affect the private, wells?
So my reading of that would be that it has to be a commercial rated well, not that it's commercially available. But presumably it would be a private facility to serve that battery installation.
Would that affect the, people with well water?
I don't know. I don't know that I know the answer to that.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's got a good point relative to us having to redig wells. We hope that we have some data centers coming that are gonna bring real revenue, that are gonna be water uses, but are gonna bring real revenue. At the same time, the question goes, you dig commercial wells, what happens when our wells run dry? I think it's a legitimate concern.
I know, going to East 50, you gotta know this, somehow they did with that 850 well up there, and people have problems in water, because I had complaints about that, okay? But if you're saying commercial well, are we just only looking at this on the use later there was a fire or situation, not a constant gain?
That would be my expectation.
Okay.
And, I think at the time of permitting, they'd have to demonstrate that they had sufficient, capacity there from a water standpoint to meet the code standard.
Because her concern would be mine, that they have to use it every day.
No, that wouldn't be my expectation.
It's only there for fire purposes, if they have a fire. None of all the solar sites have any water supply on them.
And Jared is gonna open up the.
What?
Jared, you want to just open
She said Jared Water
What's like
Facility.
that will be open.
Will the Jared Water Facility be open?
To go
To the batteries?
Just in general.
It's already
If they were
open.
out here, we use
It's been
that
open
as well.
It's open. It's already, it's been.
You talking about the reservoir? Oh, yeah, we've been using that since we filled it up with
Because
water.
the data center will be using it.
What?
The data center will be using that.
were they able to get water off our system. Any other questions about the changes, not the change, well, the new Article 3 that regulates battery energy storage systems?
What happened to those solar farms that we had that came in before our comprehensive plan came in place? What rights do they have?
Once we turn down,
No, the one that came in existence before we ever passed comprehensive, there was about 2 or 3 that came in.
or they'll be able to put these DSS projects on it due to the new legislation.
We couldn't stop it.
We can't stop.
So I have a question, under construction, maintenance and operation, number 4. Why are we crossing out safety personnel and first responders?
Because they are not permitted to access the interior of the facility when it's operating. So not that they couldn't access the site, and presumably they would access the site if there were an emergency, but they would not be permitted to access the interior of the container while it was in operation.
We don't want to fire department and water and electricity. That's the main reason. And I imagine Dominion's gonna have a few comments tonight to probably answer questions just like that. You don't fight these fires with water and water.
Right. That's not specifically to the fire department, it says safety personnel and first responders.
Well, a good question for that, would that be federal government hazmat?
So
I mean,
it's local, it's usually left up to local firefighting, and they have to provide for an emergency plan. This is the last part. And that plan includes emergency procedures to be followed in case of a fire, explosion, release of gas, and training provisions for local fire departments as well.
would it be wrong to assume that hazmat would have that right to come into the facility regardless of what's in the ordinance?
I think I wouldn't assume that your fire department would be knowledgeable and take any means necessary, based on guidance. I wouldn't use this ordinance to dictate what they are going to do. The ordinance just dictates that the applicant for these has to submit an emergency plan, and presumably that emergency plan is going to be reviewed by your local fire departments to make sure that they're comfortable with what it's dictating.
If we would have some type of event that the local fire departments can handle, they would call in the Department of Emergency Management to assist with coordinating.
And they would, and this wouldn't restrict, what we're saying is, this wouldn't be, the developer couldn't say they can't come to the site. Because the next thing becomes liability when that event happens, they're gonna wanna protect their interests, so, to me, it needs to, we need to know that. I'm gonna say necessarily for tonight to get to July, by the July 1st, but
I think some of the comments you're going to hear in a minute are going
may
to answer
answer
some of
some
these
of it.
questions.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Do we might have to give you a report on the zoning ordinance?
All right, let's go ahead and accept public comment on Article 3. And we'll go back into the record section and we'll do each one separate. So is there anybody from the public that would like to speak concerning the proposed BES ordinance?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Trey Shuford. I'm a Generation Development Manager with Dominion Energy, and we're responsible for the development of Dominion's energy storage assets. Michael, thank you for your comments to the ordinance. We understand that you all have been working with the Berkeley Group to essentially get this ordinance into effect ahead of the July 1st legislation effective date. So appreciate the addressing of the comments in that. Ultimately, we wanted to work with you all to ensure that you all are getting the safest product should you all allow energy storage within you all's locality. To address some, and not only the safest, but also, the most up-to-date codes and standards as it pertains to energy storage. So thank you for taking those into consideration. To address some of your comments, noted on the permanent water requirements, we do have a team, a corporate risk engineering team that sits on the board of NFPA 855, and we have taken an action with them to run down that permanent water requirements on site. I also heard about setbacks for any toxins that were a result of thermal runaway. Through industry fires that have happened, it has been found through third-party analyses that a lot of the toxins that come off of a fire are similar to those in nature of a standard house fire, especially when taking atmospheric pressure into consideration. Going down into some additional points into the ordinance that we want to address is access to the facility. I did understand that you all were concerned about when and who would be able to access the facility. So for first responders, as well as emergency personnel or people that are operating the site, we do not allow for them to access the interior of the container while it's in operation. Should there be an event on the site, they are to come to site. They will be provided access to the fire alarm control panel, as well as any necessary places on site to appropriately and properly mitigate any challenges that are happening on site. So it's not typical that we would provide access to the interior of the container, and would only advise that emergency personnel go into the site if they see somebody that is down in the site and would need assistance during an event once they responded to site. And then lastly, largely, our main recommendation is to refer to the code versus setting prescriptive requirements on the facility. The reason for that is that as the code changes, as it develops, and as the industry gets smarter over time, ultimately, we will be complying with the code as well as other developers in the industry.
Could you explain to them, I'm familiar with it, but how these are constructed?
Yes.
And the type of safety protocols you have in place?
Absolutely. So the energy storage system itself, its main components are a battery cells. Those cells are packaged together into a group called a module, and those modules are packaged into a unit. And those units are then installed in the enclosure. So from a containment standpoint, the cells, modules, and units are essentially packaged in a container, and their container serves as containment for those systems. The battery storage system itself has an energy management system as well as a battery management system. These systems are responsible for ensuring that the battery is operating in safe ranges. Should the battery operate outside of those safe ranges, the battery management system is designed to take a certain module offline, let the batteries come back down to a safe state, and then they will place those batteries online. This is happening remotely, designed by the system, and anytime something like that happens, we are able to see that within our remote operations center down at TFF and our Richmond headquarters office. So we have multiple layers of redundancy in the system as it pertains to how it's designed, as well as what safety systems we have in place to ensure that the system is operating appropriately.
Could you also explain what needs to be done in case there is thermal runaway or fire within the container?
Yes, and we do have a corporate risk engineering team who we've got a handful of fire protection engineers that sit on the board of NFPA 855. They can speak to it more intelligently than I can. But essentially, can you repeat the question? You said when?
I made the comment earlier, you don't fight these fires with water. So typically they let them burn out within the container.
That's exactly right. So ultimately, the components of the enclosure that I was just referring to, the cells, the modules, and the units go through a series of failure testing. The results of that failure testing are taken and submitted into a model, and the model is then essentially used to design and engineer the container to ensure that the container is it has structural integrity and can withhold any thermal runaway event on site. Ultimately, if there is a thermal runaway event, it has been advised that, we typically advise our first responders to come to the site, assess the area, and then read our fire alarm control panel, which will report out on any of the hazardous conditions within the container, as well as the real-time measurements of the environment of the inside of the container.
Okay, question that I have, relative, two questions.
Yep.
The first one is, with all of these safety things that you have in place, what is the explanation? And I could show you article video of these things not being contained, the toxic chemicals that their actual areas that they say it's not equivalent to burning a house. It's much more toxic. These areas have been defined as hazardous areas. I can show you the actual articles to support this claim. So how do we know that this is not going to happen here when it's happening across the country? It's not isolated. It's not minimal. This is a significant health and safety issue where localities are being told you have all this containment, but then it doesn't contain. And it's really not that toxic, but then the area is considered toxic. So could you address my concern on that?
Yeah, and I can't necessarily speak to the events that you were mentioning,
Right.
Unfortunately. And maybe if I had some insight on those, I'd be able to more appropriately answer your question. But I can speak to how we do things as a utility. We engineer our facilities to have multiple layers of redundancy. One of those is a failure testing. They're inputted into the way the site is laid out to ensure that we have proper spatial separation between enclosures. So should an event happen in an enclosure, it is contained to one enclosure or small grouping of enclosures, which will significantly limit the exposure as well as the amount of any release of smoke that is released to the atmosphere.
Okay. And my response to that would be Dominion in the past told us that they could manage the storm water on solar sites, and they're being fined millions of dollars across sites for not doing what Dominion says Dominion is going to do. So that is my concern. The fines are there, it's public record. Solar facilities are built, Dominion's building them, and local property owners, their land is being ruined. And Dominion said, trust us, we got it, we've got the engineering. And basically what happened is the cart was put before the horse, rushing to do this stuff before the technology's there. And I think we as a locality need to be careful to protect our citizens from the toxicity of these BESS systems. And you can look at the data and see that I know we have to allow them, but I've seen these promises before that ended up not coming true.
Understood, and I'm sorry for that.
And don't take this personally, because I know you have a job to do. Okay,
I appreciate that.
You're doing a fine job.
No, thank you.
Okay, you're doing a fine job.
Yep, and apologies for previous matters on solar projects. What I will say is that the footprint energy storage takes up is relatively small as it pertains to its footprint in relation to solar.
Speaking of that, how large of a footprint? I'm curious, how large are the containers?
So at this point in time, currently, we are estimating about 18 acres for a 50 megawatt facility. And that will also, that 18 acres will contain a substation and a switchyard as well. If the infrastructure is existing, we can cut that down to maybe 12 to 10 acres.
It's still a lot, it's still a big footprint.
Right, the other side of that is, and I'm glad Dominion, when you look at an 18 acre, you said 18, right?
18, yes.
18 for 50 megawatts. So when you look at that, Of course, they can be bigger because I've seen other places and they look like solar installations. So this thing could run away again, just like solar ran away. You know, the other side of it, the technology of being able to store this energy and using it, you know, it's pros and cons to it. But I'm concerned for fires that get away and catch homes on fire, that, you know, toxic runoff, and woodland burning down and fire department can't stop it. So that's just my concerns.
Understood. And previously mentioned, you know, we do have this appropriate spatial separation as recommended by NFPA 855, as well as adequate setbacks that are listed within the y'all's ordinance for consideration as well. Any more questions? One additional thing that I would like to add is, you know, we have been working with various other localities on the fire suppression matter as well to remove that requirement from either their ordinance or cups that have been approved for projects. For example, we've got a project just across the border in Sussex County. It's a 15.7 megawatt project where we did have to go back and have the fire suppression language removed as the industry found that it was no longer effective for energy storage systems. So wanted to use those past examples for you all that should make your decision. Thank you all.
Hi, Kelsey Joel, Manager of Generation Development for Energy Storage. I'll echo Trey, appreciate y'all listening to us. I did want to add one thing. Again, we're here as a resource to y'all to help educate and provide information as we can. We don't currently have a project planned in Greensville. We just want to make sure that y'all have the most up-to-date information. Trey mentioned our project over in Sussex County, Shands. We have hosted tours for planning commissions, board of supervisors, and staff. So I would like to personally extend an invitation to y'all. We'd be happy to host you. We can have our fire safety engineers there. We've hosted fire chiefs. I believe even some of your fire department may have been there. I know Brunswick was a couple of weeks ago when we hosted a tour. So we're willing to work with you to make sure that you have the information necessary to make these types of decisions. So just wanted to extend that invitation.
Do you have any tours scheduled?
They're on a case-by-case basis, ma'am. We'll work with you whenever you want to go.
Okay.
I think that would be a great idea.
Yeah.
For us as a group, the commission as a group.
And
wonderful.
Commissioner Thompson, I do think that the fire safety engineers would be able to better answer your question, because I think a lot of the incidents that you're referring to, not a fire safety engineer, so I want to caveat this. I think a lot of the incidents that you're referring to were kind of really early on in the technology development of BESS, and they were kind of the first iterations that were installed, similar to like Moss Landing in a warehouse. So you constantly see issues with that development happening, but it's because of an earlier version of a technology that they've since improved. And also we've seen the industry evolve from installing these facilities in a warehouse environment to more of an open air remote BESS scenario, like what NFPA 855 calls for. That mitigates a lot of your issues in and of itself. And I think in those earlier scenarios where they had situations occur, and again, Justin and John can speak better to this, but there was a precautionary effort to set forward or to set a hazardous boundary per se before they actually knew and this testing had occurred to show what the emittents, if that's the right word, were of these fires. But since those tests have occurred and NFPA 855 and UL 9548 testing has continued to evolve, they do have better information out there that now states that there are no hazards that are emitted from these incidents that aren't emitted in a normal house fire. It's typically just plastics. The lithium ion electrolyte actually burns off during the fire, so there's no emittant there.
One of those fires that I'm referring to was very recently. But I'd love to learn about the technology to understand, as I know this stuff is developing rapidly, as it changes, as it becomes safer, or maybe we're there and we're not sure we're there yet, but maybe we are. But to make sure we protect our communities, and this is not a solar runoff, Flint, Michigan, asbestos, whatever, when communities were told stuff.
Sure.
Poor communities were told, oh, sure, this stuff is great and safe, and 30 years down the road, we've got the highest cancer incidence rate in the whole state of Virginia. So that's what we want to, that's personally what I'm concerned about.
Absolutely, and that's why I wanted to get up here and extend that invite to y'all. We've been working with localities. Our first project went online back in 2024 in Chesterfield County. We've hosted probably no less than 20 tours there for localities, whether it be planning commissions, board of supervisors, or just staff as they were drafting these ordinances. And now that Shands is operational, it's been operational now for, 6 months? About 6 months now. We've been hosting people over in Sussex. We understand that new technology is scary and that most people fear the unknown, which is why we open these sites up to folks like yourselves to make sure that y'all have an idea of what, when you see a project before you, this is what it's going to look like. This is what it sounds like. Because I think once you go out there, our goal is for you to be like, wow, this is it. Like, this isn't. So anyway, yes, we'd be happy to schedule that with you and make sure the appropriate folks are there to answer your fire questions.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have anyone else from the public like to make a comment?
I have a question concerning
Come
the,
up to the mic.
okay. Frank Harris.
Name and your address.
Frank Harris, local residence, Sussex Drive. I have a question concerning the integration of the solar, the grid, and these battery backups, and how that is integrated maybe to data centers, or is that related to it at all?
It is, and I'm gonna touch on that in a few minutes.
Okay.
Our next case.
In other words, the actual use of the batteries as line power, is that anticipated the grid going down, or?
Well, Dominion can correct me, but one reason they want battery storage on a solar site is a solar site can only upload current on the grid when the sun's
Yeah, right.
All right, if they put battery storage on the site, they can store it and upload a little bit over 24 hours, which reduces their interconnection costs. You know, because the
Okay.
less current you have, the smaller
Yeah, I
conductors
follow
and
that.
all that. So that's kind of the
Okay.
generic version of why they want these battery energy storage systems,
But the other part of that is too, they do generate, they actually use current as well to operate. And with these solar sites, they give you a nameplate on how much, they're gonna generate. And what you really need to look at is capacity factor, which has fallen off the map in Virginia. And we're using all of this land and it's not producing the electricity that has been told to us. And as a locality in Greensville, the other sad thing about it is when you look at these projects, all of this electricity is being sent everywhere but Greensville County. It's getting sent everywhere but to us. And others are benefiting from it at our expense.
I won't touch on that.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. If you have any questions after that, we'll try to answer them. Anybody else?
Angela Wilson, 4015 Slayton's Lake Road. Good evening again. Over the years, as the issue of industrial scale solar has been discussed in Greensville County, this commission has done many things right. You listened to your constituents, you consulted professionals, you did your own research, you asked hard questions, and most importantly, you made decisions that reflected what you believe to be best for our citizens, our community, and future generations. I'm here tonight because the state has now taken action that overrides the will of local citizens and weakens the authority of our duly elected local government. These new laws come with no new information, no new data, no new assurances regarding the long-term health, safety, environmental, agricultural, or economic impact of these industrial-scale solar facilities. They also come with no clear guarantee that the power generated here on land in our community will ever directly benefit our citizens who must live with the consequences. But the laws have passed, and we understand that you are required to comply. So tonight, I'm here to thank you for the diligence, the courage, and the care you have shown on this issue in the past, and to ask that as you move forward under these new requirements, that you continue to stand firmly for the people of Greensville County. As you work to comply with the changes in the law, I respectfully ask that you do three things. First, that you continue to do your own research. Look beyond the information presented to you by those who have vested interest in expanding industrial-scale solar projects in our county. Second, continue to protect our natural resources. Demand serious attention to the long-term impact these facilities may have on the health and safety of our residents, as well as the future viability of our agricultural and timberland. And third, continue to fight for what is best for Greensville County, not just today, but for tomorrow and for generations to come. Because the decisions you make on these issues will not simply affect land use. They will affect families, farms, property, natural resources, and the future character of our county. So I ask that you continue to approach this matter with the same courage and care that you have shown since the beginning. Thank you.
Anyone else from the audience wish to speak? Being none, I recommend you go back into regular session.
So can we get a motion to go back into regular session?
And so moved.
Second. All right, it's been moved and properly second that we go back in regular session. All in favor, support sign aye. Opposed, we are back in regular session to discuss ZTA 1-206-2026 dash battery energy storage systems.
I have I went through what was presented to us in the ordinance, and I have some suggestions, that after hearing from the Berkeley group, that I believe could increase the safety for our community, but also comply with the law that we must comply with by July the 1st.
Show us what you offer.
Okay, so I am on, Article 3, and I'm working from our booklet in Section D. It is Article 3. It is not the amended language, copy. But the amended language that was in there, I don't have any problems with what was recommended to be amended. If it's at the top, it states Article 3, it's in Section D. Okay, and at the top.
Hold on a second.
Section D, you go past, it's gonna be
Oh,
attachment,
here we go.
attachment B.
B, there we go.
Attachment B, which is the, model ordinance for us to review. And then put in the packet for us as an example.
Yes, the same thing. Okay.
Article 30. Okay, in 3-18-2, it says a battery energy storage facility may be a principal use, an accessory use, or a component of another energy facility. I think, it's been told that we're looking at not doing it as a principal use at this time. So this ordinance is to address the issue on the solar facilities. So my recommendation would be to strike out principal use, since we're not considering that at this time. Is that correct, Liam?
So you're not, but the reason we have two definitions. one, what is a battery energy facility holistically? And then second, what qualifies as an accessory battery energy storage facility? So to define them that way, and the reason we're doing that is, we'll talk about it on next amendment. In the use table, we only specify accessory battery energy storage as being allowed.
We're not
But-
gonna allow
Right, so
So
you're,
why don't we take it out of here anyway?
well, because you still need to know what it is to say that it's prohibited.
if
And
somebody comes in and it meets those criteria, hey, this is
principal use,
principal use, not accessory.
then it's not conversely in the table, and so therefore it's prohibited. So it would be my recommendation not to make that change.
Kind of counterintuitive.
It's counterintuitive.
It is, but you need to define it to know what it is to say that it's prohibited, because it's not then listed in the use table.
Right, let's keep going. All right, down on number 6, which is sighting, setbacks, and screenings. And due to the potentially combustible nature of the siting of the battery energy storage facility, it has a setback of only 100 feet. If you have a runway issue, then it is 100 feet from somebody else's property. I mean, how, it's just too close in my opinion. I recommend that we move it to at least 300 feet or 100 yards. And if it's a big issue with this thermal runoff, I don't know that that's gonna be enough. But at least you're giving us a football, and excuse my hunting background, but I do yards and distance better than I do feet. 100 feet, 100 feet sounds like a lot, but it's not a lot at all, okay? I don't even know that 300 feet is enough. But we've got to establish something. So I'm just bringing this to the committee for us to discuss what that number should be.
I think 300 feet would be a good starting point.
And Jessica said 500 feet. I mean, we can always revise it and like loosen it up at the point we're more comfortable. But 100 feet is nothing.
Dan, you have any thoughts?
I would agree with at least 300.
Is 500 unreasonable, do you think?
So, yeah. All for it.
Let's do 500 feet.
I mean, you're talking about large sites, so 500 feet on a large site's not a lot.
Right. Let's say 500 feet.
You're over an 18 acre footprint.
Yeah.
So we should be doing that on the one that you've already,
With the red, I'll make
with
it a
with the
Yeah.
red on.
I
instead of the one
got it.
below.
You're right. I will just have to,
Somebody's gonna have to make a motion to incorporate.
all right. So setback to 500 feet.
This is under items.
C1.
C1.
C1. Okay, then on section C3, it says prevent encroachment and runoff into wetlands, floodplains, and any other sensitive environmental areas. Be at least 300 feet from wetlands, floodplains, and sensitive environmental areas. Maybe you go 500 feet. But if these toxins and this stuff get into our waterways, we're on well water here. So that's why I'm bringing, it's no setback listed. It just is saying you gotta prevent it, which we've seen with, projects in solar and other things. We have all this stuff in place and then projects have all kinds of problems.
So you would add a 500-foot setback.
From wetlands, floodplains, and sensitive environmental areas.
Definitely more specific.
Then in number 4, it says it must be fully screened on all sides from view. To me, we should be establishing a buffer of how big the buffer screening needs to be. 300 feet's 100 yards to keep this thing off of people. But having a significant buffer, to keep this at a site.
So a buffer within the setback.
Yep. A buffer within that 500-foot setback.
Are you thinking we need to
300.
include a width of the buffer?
Yes,
I think that's what he's after.
that's what I'm after with the buffer. Not just they're gonna provide a buffer. I mean, I can ride to my daughter's house and see solar on all three sides, and Strata Solar said they were gonna do all this stuff, and it's the most horrendous place to have to live temporarily.
50-foot buffers, I believe.
It's horrific. So, and the vegetation, by the way, if you ride by that line, is dying. So, I think we need to settle with and not leave it open. Any thoughts?
Michael, would you have any recommendation on that?
I mean, I think with the 50 feet staggered rows is probably sufficient, especially if it's going to be within a setback of that size.
I know, I've seen it before. I know,
I'm not comfortable with that either.
I know. No. Why don't we go, all right, we've got the 500-foot setback, why don't we do a 300-foot buffer?
A 300-foot planted buffer.
You got it. You got it. If you want to do business here, protect our citizens, you got it.
So here, I think all the things you're talking about are fine. I think what you might likely end up with is an applicant coming in on any given solar project and saying, these regulations have the effect of being inconsistent with what the state law mandates.
But the state didn't mandate anything this time.
They actually did. They mandated that you have to allow for them. So if your regulations have the effect of disallowing for them, they would then apply for a variance, and they would likely have a strong argument of a hardship because of the local regulations. Just laying that out there. I want to be realistic. If you were to have a 300-foot setback, and instead of the 50-foot buffer being at the front of that setback, but being closer to the facility, you would not see it as long as it's properly planted and properly maintained.
But the other problem you got with your suggestion is we need to, because of the flammability, you can't plant it right on top of it
That's correct.
because of the flammability.
Right, you have the provision in there that I think says that it has to be clear of vegetation for 20 feet.
And that's nothing.
And there's also NFPA regulations as well that speak to that.
Well, you know, I want to go back to the regulations, the DEQ, all of these regulations are failing localities, okay? And solar and developers have a big seat at the table when these regulations are being developed. And I'm also aware that the Berkeley Group not only works with Greensville, but also works with the solar folks as well.
Yes, sir.
I am looking at protecting Greensville County residents.
Sir, we do not. We only work for local governments.
Okay. I don't think 50 is enough.
And Michael, one thing that you said, if it's planted and maintained properly, well, that's the problem.
Well, I can only tell you that in my experience as a planning director for 15, 20 years, if there was plants that were required under a use permit that were dying, they would get a notice of violation. And they would have to cure it.
And then they pay, and then they don't cure it, and then they use taxpayer money subsidies to pay the fines.
I can only tell you that if they're in violation, they're in
We
violation.
require them to have that bond in place for the vegetative buffers. So we can call a bonding company. We have to.
Well, the solar anyway impacts the land negative. It doesn't have.
It has negative impacts on the land, that's solar anyway.
I don't think 50 feet is enough.
You could require 100 feet. This board, this commission can recommend 300 if they wish.
And we're still
And-
allowing it, it's not, we're not allowing it, it's just under our conditions.
Right, I mean, I see big government pushing us around left and right, and I don't like it. So how about 150?
150 feet is what I was thinking.
You're standing there, what's your thought? See, you like to say.
No, my job is not to sugarcoat it for you. My job is to tell you what I believe, in my professional opinion, to give you guidance. You may not appreciate what you hear from me, but I'm gonna try to be realistic with you.
So where are we at between the 50 and 150?
If you want to recommend 150, I think that's perfectly reasonable. We'll evaluate it, we'll discuss with Lynn. That's a recommendation to the board. That may be more stringent than we would normally recommend, but that may be your recommendation.
What would be your recommendation?
I think 50 feet is sufficient for a battery energy storage facility with a 300-foot setback.
I don't,
I'm not comfortable.
I don't, I suggest 150, any? Jeff?
No, I think 150. For the buffer.
We gotta make a motion to include it all. All right, 150, okay, 150 for the buffer. Okay, then in 5, it says be cleared of combustible vegetation and growth within 20 feet on each side of this very flammable project. 20 feet's not enough. I mean, that's four times my height. Basically, you know, 5 feet tall. I mean, you know, it's barely, if I stand on the box. So 20 feet, so that basically, what's that saying? We've got this big energy storage thing and the clearance around it is only 20 feet. It needs to be more to protect that vegetation from catching on fire.
I'm looking through the field expanse. Was that included, the 20-foot one part of the deal, wasn't it?
No.
It was just a suggestion. Okay.
Do we think it needs to be bigger than 20 feet?
Okay, let's go up to 25.
This is for the
Battery.
I mean, as an engineer, Jeff.
Yeah, 20 feet I don't think is sufficient. I think it should be at least 50 feet. You thinking more?
I mean, you're talking about flammability and runoff, this runaway, sure. 75, 100. Anybody else have a thought on the distance?
So the way I'm reading this is, it says growth within 20 feet on each side. You're talking about setting back more, you're talking about setting back 150, whatever you just said.
Whatever, 75.
75, because I mean,
In other words, if that best system is right in the middle of the floor.
I understand, I just think that's a long ways away from, the gap is so big that it's no longer, it's no longer covering. You can see over because we're setting so far back from it.
We're not, actually, we're setting 100 yards, and then we're set a 150-foot buffer. And then on the other side of that buffer
Would be the compound.
would be the compound, which would still, no way you would see it at all. But if like you did 50 feet, because we're talking about it gets hot, we have thermal runoff, and 20 feet from it.
This vegetation.
I can see 50, but just, I'm visualizing being so far from it that you can see
Over.
Because the opening is so large.
But you're gonna have a 150-foot buffer.
Yeah, you're gonna have a 150-foot planted buffer. Trees, shrubs,
That's around the outside.
You're not gonna hardly see over.
through 150-foot buffer. If we did 50, can we just get it off of, and I see you're saying the closer it's surrounded, the less visible. The more we can see what it is, so,
Let's go with 50 feet on that, correct?
okay.
Okay, I have a question, Lynn, before we get too far into making all of these changes. We can make these changes at another time, right? We're just voting on actually changing the ordinance.
Well, we're voting to add this into the ordinance.
To add this
And
into the
y'all are
ordinance.
changing what we recommended by strengthening or increasing the setbacks and buffers and stuff, so.
Because if we set it July 1 and somebody comes in July 1, then that's.
We can always go after July 1.
We can make it less time.
I don't know that you could.
Oh, you don't?
I don't, it's not very clear in the state law.
There's a lot of
That was passed.
stuff in limbo right now.
Okay. And we're pretty much drafting a whole new document outside of the one that,
Not really. This
Just this.
no, I'm looking at it.
That's just,
That's it.
that's my scribble notes, you know, you can't read. My long note here was just that, like in the other ordinance, we had it was deciduous trees and blah, blah, blah. That's not here. I think it ought to be there. It's defined in the solar ordinance, what the buffer is. I don't have to go through that, but we could do that later since you're concerned, you know, we can look at describing that later.
So we're staying on what
Yeah.
the objective tonight.
Yeah, under section G, decommissioning, it says, and I think this stuff is very important, decommissioning, it says in G1, all decommissioning plans should be certified by an engineer contractor with demonstrated expertise in solar facility removal. I think we ought to add and BESS, because this is actually BESS, it doesn't say BESS. So just add it, just,
You're talking G1,
G1,
it's just applications for accessory battery energy storage systems.
but it says all decommissioning plans shall be certified by an engineer contractor with demonstrated expertise in solar facility removal.
We can
Shouldn't say
add that,
something-
that's fine.
To be consistent.
Yeah, to be consistent, to say they have to have BESS experience.
Solar facility and that's removal. Okay.
All right, then I was at H on the emergency plan. So I've got a question regarding this, because it's some lengthy language, but I think this really protects us. Relative to the emergency plan, Lynn, if we pass this ordinance on July the 1st, can we go back and adjust the language relative to who is going to pay for the training for our folks? Can that be addressed at a later date? I mean, our people are gonna have to be trained, somebody's gonna have to pay for that.
That's typically something we include in special use permit as a condition.
But in this case, there wouldn't be one,
Yeah.
but there could be a siting agreement, and that could be a negotiating provision of the siting agreement.
I mean, that could be, our folks are gonna need to be trained, somebody's gonna have to pay for that.
But I think on the same, when they come in, people ask for so many dollars in the same.
Okay.
You know, for them to get it approved, they don't want to approve stuff.
More than just money, so we can do.
That's all.
That's it.
That's good stuff, Chris. Thank you.
So I just want to summarize it real quick.
Chad, I wanna say one thing that I'm not gonna address, because I know people are thinking I'm too long-winded. Another thing I wanted to consider here but didn't, and somebody may wanna take note for a siting agreement for this, since I'm getting too long-winded, is there ought to be an agreement that the site is tested for PFAS and cancer-causing, carcinogens, toxins and all. I looked at a recommended thing was every 4 months, that landowners, their wells can be tested every so many months, and that the developer is responsible for any damages associated with the toxic if they destroy our well water and our wetlands. If that's not in here, it ought to be in a site agreement. But that's a considerable concern.
I thought I saw that somewhere. I didn't hear, but I thought I saw that. Maybe that was with the solar projects that I saw that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You're good. You're good. This is good stuff.
All right, so to summarize, if you have a copy with our red changes that reflected at PA 855, planning commission, y'all have to make it a motion, but y'all have agreed to change the following sections. When we talk about setbacks, there be at least a 500-foot setback from all property lines.
That's C1, right?
C1, C3, impose a 500-foot setback from all floodplains, wetlands, and environmentally sensitive areas. C4, impose a 150-foot buffer within the 300-foot or the 500-foot setback. And C5, we're talking about keeping the vegetation clear for a distance of 50 feet on each side of the best facility. And when we go to decommissioning, we're just going to add best. So, an expert in solar facilities at best removal will be the one preparing the decommissioning plan and estimate. And I think that's it.
So do we have to include what you have in red in our?
Yeah, they're the changes due to NFPA
Okay.
855. Their regulations just changed, and that's why we had to make this consistent.
Okay, so when the person is gonna make a motion, they need to include what's in red as well as
I
what
would
we
just
just
say the
discussed.
changes noted by staff and the changes noted by Mr. Thompson. I've got all of it written here.
Yes.
I hope this was the longest one of the night. All right.
Okay, do we have any more discussion on BESS, ZTA 1-2026 battery energy storage systems? Mayor, make a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the best ordinance. Changes noted by staff and changes noted by Chris Thompson.
All right, I'll second that.
All right, it's been moved and second that we, accept the changes noted by staff and the changes noted by Commissioner Thompson regarding the zoning for accessory battery energy storage facilities. All in favor, use the voting sign.
All right. Roll call.
Oh, roll call.
Mr. Kane. Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Dr. Chapman.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson.
Yes.
Ms. Byrd.
Yes.
Ms. Hardy.
Yes.
Ms. Dana Horn. Yes. Carried on 7-0 vote.
All right.
All right.
We need a motion to go
Back
back
in
in
the
public hearing for item D on your agenda, ZTA -2 -2026 GC zoning ordinance utility scale solar.
All right, this should be a whole lot quicker than the last one. If you look at Article 4, Table 4.1, that's our use table for the zoning ordinance. So any use that we allow by right or by special use permit is included in that use table.
Where you at, man?
If you look at my attachment to,
Oh, yes.
attachment B, I'm sorry,
It's 2 pages before that.
What's the key, right?
Yeah,
It's 2 pages.
one that looks like this,
Yeah, I
Jeff.
remember seeing it, I don't,
Yeah, I know, staff report.
oh, here we go, attachment B.
So basically, we are amending the ordinance to add accessory battery energy storage as an approved use with a special use permit. This is, the state law requires us to do this, not only in the A1 district, but in the B1, the B2, and the M2 district.
And Lynn, that should be actually permitted by right.
Permitted by right.
Yes, sir. So instead of a U, it should be an
Yeah,
R
okay.
for
For
that,
which one?
for accessory battery energy storage.
Accessory, I'm sorry.
And that would be in each, zone.
In the A1, B1, B2, and M1.
They all should be R.
It should be by right, yes, I'm sorry. And then the next one is a utility scale solar energy facility, which would have to be allowed with a use permit in the A1, B1, B2, and M1 district. And then the footnote at the bottom. It's just stating, those changes are made subject to the Code of Virginia 15.2, 2241, et cetera, that requires these changes be made.
And with respect to utility scale solar, this is really a stopgap. We'll be coming back to you with an actual ordinance update after we get through the BES. But this will ensure that your ordinance isn't silent on it after July 1, that there's reference to the state code. And then the next part of that is the comprehensive plan amendment that establishes some policy parameters for
The next case, correct, right? So all we're doing is reflecting what the state code says by adding these uses as prescribed by the state code to the new state zoning ordinance. We don't have a choice on that.
I have some questions. Okay, so I had for everybody a copy of our old ordinance that I just want to pass on. I gave them a copy already. Okay. And I guess my first question to Lynn is, do we have any applications that are sitting on the table for July the 1st? Okay. Because when I see the way it's presented to us tonight, it's just this table, and you basically follow the state ordinance. Well,
Can I interrupt you?
yeah,
When we took solar projects out of the ordinance
Right.
last year, you're gonna have to, we only took it out of the ordinance table. We still had, remember, we left the language in the ordinance because of data centers that might have solar farms attached to data centers that still have the setbacks and everything we had before. So that's still there. We just took out the use tables, allowing solar as an approved use in the agricultural district. But the ordinance is still staying in place to address solar projects accompanying data centers.
but this, the way this, when we say vote on this, and this has been very contentious in the county, and the residents have showed up in here in droves about wanting to protect the county. In Northern Virginia says they get all the data centers and money, and we get all the non-paid solar. If we pass this and somebody comes in by July 1st without going through this ordinance, they're gonna be stuck under just passing this. Because that applies, what you're talking about, those setbacks and everything, apply only to the data overlay district, correct?
No,
Or it's in violation of the state code.
no. Correct me if I'm wrong, Michael. We took, it used to say utility scale solar facility, the bottom one here, highlighted was paid.
Yeah.
We took that out.
Yeah.
The only place we allowed it as an accessory use within the technology overlay district. But we kept Article 24, the solar ordinance in place, because that would still have the
The language.
language for solar.
So that's the solar ordinance that we have.
Always had, yes.
But we fine tune.
But that's null and void by the state. Those setbacks are null and void by that state law.
Maybe. And basically, if your current regulations impose a setback greater than what's, the ranges that are established in the state code, then yes, you would have to, you could not impose setbacks greater than what is mandated.
Okay, and some of ours do. Okay, some of ours, because I went through the whole thing, some of ours do. So all I'm saying is if we just pass this tonight and don't quickly have another meeting to develop that ordinance, somebody could slip in here. Because there are things that I had written down that can help us protect ourselves from solar that are not addressed in that state ordinance, such as cash escrow accounts relative to certain damages and fees and things that we can do that can make us less attractive to these solar facilities. But if we just adopt what the General Assembly passed, then we're leaving ourselves wide open.
Well, I think you're not exactly, because one, we wanted to make sure we did this as a stopgap. But two, also the next piece, which was amending the comprehensive plan with the policy, because you still have the 15.2, 2232 review to determine whether it's in accord with the comprehensive plan. And frankly, in my opinion, that is where, regardless of everything, you're going to want to hang your hat more so than anything.
Okay, one question, and I'm just gonna ask it tonight. The state ordinance that requires us to choose setbacks, are we legally allowed to say, okay, these are the minimums, but hey, developers,
Yes,
the county, we prefer these.
I do that in my staff console with anybody anyway. A good example would be Sapple Solar Project. They want to put a substation in the road. I said, it's never gonna pass unless you move it 3,800 feet, I think it was. And I do that, if you want to get it approved, these are the minimum. You can go above and beyond the minimum. I do that with every applicant anyway.
Yeah, they would have to be willing to enter into a written agreement to do that, which they may or may not.
But we could at least have it to say, hey, developers, if you're interested, I mean.
You may, yeah, and I think the challenge will be is that a basis enough to deny a use permit versus evaluating under the 2232.
The comp plan, all right, the comp plan is gonna be the big thing.
That's the
So
key.
you said we got more leverage with the 2232.
With the comp plan, right. But we still need to address.
Yes, and that's
what we're, right.
Sooner than later.
The next piece, we're working with several communities and on different tracks and different timelines, and the next piece would be to come back with the actual solar amendment.
Well, this has all just come up in a couple of weeks, so we're scrambling to get something in place by July 1st. From the time she signed it, we couldn't have a public hearing and take it to the board, we July 1st deadline. That's why the board's July 24th.
But my question would be that this is, when we meet as the board, what he's asking be taken into consideration at that time. Like what he's asking, because we get to July the 1st, we did.
No, not for solar.
Not for solar. Yes, not solar.
No, sir.
That's, I think.
But do you expect any applications on your desk July 1st because the law has changed?
Every phone call I can field in recent months is data center. 2 or 3 of our old solar sites, they're talking about data centers and adding their properties to the technology overlay district. I've been talking about more amount of amendments to expand our TOD area.
I just think if we pass this, and I know we've got to have public comment, but if we just do this tonight, I think it's critical that we have a follow-up meeting quickly to get an ordinance ironed out. Because there are things we can do, like increase the permitting fee, saying that they have to have cash escrows to cover. There are a lot of things we can do for a developer to say, we're not so interested in Greensville in this, okay? And I've gotten my notes and I could type the whole thing
I've
out.
got something similar to that too, coming.
So I guess that's my concern. and how quickly we can have another meeting to get this done to protect us. Because if I apply July the 1st and we pass this, basically what it's saying is that the person who applies July 1st basically follows those state regulations and they're good. And we can't stop it other than with the comp plan.
And that's a big thing.
The comp plan.
Correct.
And we're not, this is every locality, not just us.
I mean, I know, but I just know how developers are. We've dealt with it long enough here to know.
I'm not expecting anything. If it is, it's blindsided.
All right, so how quickly, I guess my question would be,
We'll get to work on it right away.
could we have a meeting before our next scheduled meeting?
We don't want to regret not moving past.
Oh, we don't. I mean, I'd rather stay here till midnight tonight and iron it out. Then, I mean, I'm sorry, I've got one that's wants to put, and they're still coming because they put the lines to do the aerial surveys right in front of my mom's house. Okay, and it's,
They're looking at data centers.
okay,
That solar's gone, they're looking at data centers.
okay, and that's not in the TOD.
No, they want to make an application to include their property in the TOD.
Okay.
That's what they're working on now.
Okay.
I've been talking to them for 3 or 4 months.
Okay. That would be party solar.
Already sold.
So that'd be
All the
put,
way from your house to your house.
right, so that would be putting a data center, some of our Slagle's Lake people are here, so just pay attention. That would be putting a mega data center in our residential area, between Slagle's Lake Road and Purdy Road. It's currently not in the technology overlay district, so unless that changes, they cannot do that, is that correct? But, okay.
Can we meet for next schedule?
I would like to have a meeting sooner than later. I mean, because I know people got things to do, but I could stay here till 1 o'clock in the morning. It's that important to me. It just is, and it's that important to a lot of our citizens who came here with signs and everything else.
We will legally advertise and stuff in that ordinance, chapter 24 to amend, so if we do any changes tonight.
We can't do any changes to them.
No. This can be changed later after July 1st. July 1st is not the, for Article 24, what he's talking about, it's not the hard date.
And we can't change Article 24 tonight, you're
No,
saying?
they can't do it anyway.
We can't,
You can advertise it.
okay,
Advertise.
because I thought it was advertised as solar ordinance, so,
Article 3 and Article 4.
okay.
Well, then if we meet again in a couple of weeks, that'll give us all more chance to look at this better.
So we meet in 2 weeks.
Well, I got to give it to Berkeley Group on that time schedule and everything, I'll just have to keep in touch.
Well, let me ask you this then. Aside from the Berkeley group, can we have a working session and work on what we have and start developing a ordinance and not wait for the Berkeley group? I think time is of the essence.
Yeah, the chairman can call a special work session.
I mean, just be a work session, not open to the public, just to, and we could have better discussions around the table than here.
That Article 24, we don't have to have done by July 1st.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, so then why we need to expect?
They just want to look at the orders and look at potential changes.
That's just what I'm saying. We don't have to have a special meeting for that since we're not meeting July 1st.
Well, the reason we're asking for, what I'm asking for,
I'm not coming on you saying.
That will be in a regular board meeting.
That's what I'm saying, right? So I'm
the
not-
board doesn't have to be right. All I'm saying is that if we just do what we do tonight, and solar applications come in here quickly, okay? And we know based on everything that was done at the General Assembly in the lobby, that they're waiting at the door. If we don't get an ordinance in place that is sooner than later, and we drag our feet, then we can have people in the door. Maybe we want them, maybe we don't, but we're gonna tie our own hands if we don't. So that's why I'm just asking, could we have a meeting and not wait a month?
We kind of need to be prepared so we don't get blindsided.
Correct. Yes, I'll work with Dr. Chapman, and we'll get something set up.
We had a public comment.
No,
We're,
I don't know, where are we right now?
we haven't had any public comments on this. So is there anyone who would like to make a public comment regarding the GC zoning ordinance?
I have a question.
Can you come to the,
Yeah, come on up.
My name is James Taylor. We said I gotta give my place of residence to,
Yes.
1351 L Road.
hold the mic.
Can I just speak loud enough? Can you hear me?
That's good.
Can you hear me?
We can
I
hear
can
you.
just project. I just
Thank
project.
you.
I heard you talk about articles of ordinance, and I'm really just getting into the city and all this. Could I have a copy so I can have them do my own research?
Yes,
of
sir.
The articles and the ordinance of everything.
It's online, but I can get you a copy too.
Okay, and I have,
If you go to our webpage and go on the planning department,
okay,
has agendas and all that on it, all this is in
and
the agenda.
it's under Greensville County.
Yeah, but if you give me your email, you have email,
Mr. Delvin, MRDELVINT,
Mr. Del,
Delvin T.
DEVL,
No, DEL.
DEL,
VINT
VINT,
@gmail.com.
Gmail, I will flood your inbox.
Yeah, please do, because this data center thing, I know it does something about that myself, and it's not healthy for the environment, you know.
But where you
And when
live,
it do go bad, you can't, the soil itself, it goes bad.
Yeah.
And over 50, 100 years, it's still bad. So
I'll give
be
you a little bit of
worried
peace of
about what
mind.
we're doing.
Yeah, where you live, there's no power line infrastructure.
Oh, yeah, I live in Skippers, I'm right
I
there.
know to build that, but I'll see you stuff.
I appreciate it.
All right.
That's all I want. And it'd be nice if everybody else could get a copy too. They may not want to say it, but I'm pretty sure other people want a copy. If possible, y'all want a copy?
Yeah.
I'll
You
give
go
it.
on the website and find it.
Or if you have trouble finding it, just call the office, we'll get it to you.
Any other public comment? Okay, can we get a motion? I'm sorry.
Howard Davis, Slaggers Lake Road, 3890 Slaggers Lake Road. Just a quick comment. I think that what we need to address is a soil survey before we start a project, a water survey before we start one. And then we have something to compare it to if we go 4 months down the road. Okay? Now we know exactly what these projects are doing to us. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more public comments? Okay, now, can we get a motion to go back into regular session?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and properly second that we go back into regular session. All in favor, use the voting sign aye.
Aye.
Great. First, I guess I just want to say how much we appreciate our public comments. It's very, very important. We're here to represent the citizens of Greensville County. And please don't ever think that we're, especially me, when I was talking about Chris, and I can see his notes and I know how passionate he is about this. We're not trying to rush anything. We just have some things that came up that have to be decided on prior to July 1st. So all of it is important. Whatever your opinion is, it's important. And I just wanted to state that for the record. Do we have any discussion? So we have to make a motion on these changes as well as changing these used to already.
Just make a motion to approve, staff's recommendation. So,
Great.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the staff's recommendation.
Who seconded?
I second it. All right, can we get a roll call vote?
All right, Mr. Kane. Mr. Thompson,
No.
Ms. Chapman,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Ms. Byrd. You gonna abstain? Ms. Hardy,
Abstain.
Mr. Antoine.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4 yeses and 1 no and 2 abstains, so the motion carried.
All right. Can we get a motion to go into public hearing on item E on your agenda, Greensville County Comprehensive Plan Amendment for utility scale solar facilities and battery energy storage systems?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we go back into public hearing for item E on our agenda. All in favor? Opposed? Very public hearing.
Go ahead. So this is the last amendment that we brought forward and are recommending. And again, this is the critical piece with respect to solar, at least in the interim period, before coming back to you with an ordinance. And actually, I feel like this is even more critical, even than the ordinance may be, because the legislation, the state law changes did not change anything with respect to 15.2-2232 of the state code. So the 2232 review process allows planning commissions to review a public utility project to determine whether or not it's in accordance with the comprehensive plan. It's my understanding that when solar was indicated to be a prohibited use, that the comprehensive plan was amended to remove the former policies supporting solar. So this would reinstitute those policies or similar policies. And what we've done here is try to institute things that are in your current ordinance that may or may not be able to be regulated under the state law. For instance, the proximity to transmission line corridors, the requirement for separation between facilities, the total acreage within the county to be potentially developed for utility scale solar, that this would reinstitute those things as policy factors by which an application after July 1, you could evaluate for under the 15.22232 review whether or not a project was in accordance with the comprehensive plan. So again, this is that stopgap measure in lieu of having provisions in the ordinance that are conform with the state law. And the state law did not change your authority or discretion for that 2232 review process. And to be clear, we kind of talked about this earlier, unlike the July 1st date with respect to battery energy storage, regulations in the ordinance for solar and even this policy are subject to change into the future. So, you know, if this is something you adopt now and you feel like there needs to be amendments to it in the future, as it stands currently, you could amend that in the future and continue to subject applications to that review under these policies as they may be amended from time to time.
So I guess my question, you're talking about adding all these things under number 1, utility scale solar energy and battery energy solar facility policies, adding all of these things back in.
We've drafted it as an appendix
Right, I see.
So it could just be appended to the comprehensive plan, but would be included as part of the plan.
Question I had relative to, you talked about transmission lines, distance from transmission lines. I see distance between projects, total acreage. Would anything in the law prohibit us from including setbacks in the comprehensive plan?
I think the challenge is, you may have preferences, stated preferences that are greater than what is stipulated for an ordinance provision. Yeah, I can see that you could do that.
I think he gave it to everybody. We're talking about the total acres in the county.
Sorry, I didn't send it to everybody. You got it right here.
No, everybody has.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, everybody
Okay, all right,
has.
I didn't realize. All right, since 2016, regulations have changed, our criteria has changed. So all these 6 solar projects we've approved have come in at different times, and we had different requirements. So I don't have the same data for each project, it's something I'm gonna have to go back. So if you look at county line solar, the last row on this page, that's the last one after we came up to determine what constitutes the size of a project. So we wanted to, well, the total acreage is a given, we know what the total acreage is. We need to know the total disturbed area. That's the area that's disturbed, that's the important one to me. That's not just where your solar panels are, but that's where your stormwater retention ponds are, your erosion sediment control, your buffers and all that.
But then we voted, and Jeff was in that conversation, that we decided when we were counting the size of a solar project, we were counting the parcels involved. There was a big discussion with a pro-solar person that was at that meeting, and we discussed limits of disturbance, and this person was saying it needs to be limits of disturbance. And then Jeff said, as an engineer, if I'm correct in representing this, Jeff, that you said limits of disturbance can be very subjective, but parcels involved is very cut and dry. So we set then that when we looked at a solar facility counting toward the cap, it was the parcel acres, and that was something we did way back to try to slow down the development. And you said, hey, if you don't want to include a parcel in it, part of the parcel, then you can have it surveyed and taken out. Do you recall that?
Yes, and the term used was using the boundary,
Yeah.
the property boundary.
Yeah, the property boundaries and not the limits of disturbance.
I thought it was total disturbed acres.
No, that's what we were arguing.
All right, well, anyway, I've got the total,
Negotiating.
I've got the total parcel boundaries here for everything. So you've got, I don't have them calculated.
I think it's 6,900 acres.
69?
Liam, what was it? We were just talking about what the cap is
That's the
76.
That's what the cap, we can lower the cap.
So,
I mean,
and I'll have to go back and look at the minutes to that, I just don't recall.
That's
But
what
you
we
had 802 for Fountain Creek, you had 474 for Jarrett, 1491 for Sadler, 1,099 for Greensville, 846 for Pumpkin Seed, and 2188 for County Line, but we don't know if that'll be built yet. So that came up to 6,900.
6,900 is what I came up with.
And I'll go back and clarify that. I have to go back to the minutes in the
So
recording.
that's definitely what we said, yeah. So we could actually, in this comprehensive plan, drop that limit to 6,900. No reason that says we can't, correct?
Seems good, yes.
Question, if you left it at 76, you drop it to 69. I'm wondering, if it's 76, you bring in, you say 69, and you're sitting there creating neighbors for a problem. If you have it at 76.
But you would just drop it and before July 1st, and therefore, based on your reason on your comprehensive plan,
We've
that
already
the
met our language.
we have met our language in the comprehensive plan because our citizens and the comprehensive plan surveys said the number one important thing to them was the rural character of our county. So that 6,900 would allow for county line to be built, which has been approved. It would allow for Jarrett to be built. That would give us 6 total solar projects and 6,900 acres involved in solar.
And Lynn, can you verify that we did formally adopt a
That's what I'm gonna
definition?
have to go back and look at here.
Because we had a lot of discussion.
Well, we were back and forth for months, so.
And I don't know if that would be retroactive to when we made that definition.
Well, the only project that's come in since we did that was county line. All the others were before we had that discussion.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
what, the ones prior to that discussion, would they be subject to the same definition,
Well,
overall boundary?
well, I think whatever the comp plan says at the time, total acreage is total acreage. And Michael might have a different opinion about that.
It's not a regulatory requirement, it's a
Yeah,
policy
so-
position. So basically, if an application were to come in after July 1, whatever the number is, where's the county with respect to that number? And where is that project with respect to that number? And if it's beyond it, then that certainly would be a factor to evaluate whether or not that project in front of you was in accord with the plan or not.
And then if county line didn't get built,
That's a huge project.
then you would have opened up the
That's
acres
just
to somebody else.
Yeah. If you don't do county
But
line,
my question-
they said for the last 6, I think we did that by 2018 or so.
Something like that.
So hopefully, if county line, unless they come tell them they're not gonna do it, then they still a part of what we talking about.
Right.
Yeah, but here's the other unknown right now. Now, when we make a decision to deny, we have to report that decision to the State Corporation Commission with reasons. And of course, the comp plan gives us those reasons to approve or deny any project, not just solve with any project. So I would assume that the State Corporation Commission, if we denied it, and I'm just being a devil's advocate, still might issue a certificate of public necessity for a project. We don't know. I mean,
No, I don't, it wouldn't be that cut and dry. Because still the CPCN process requires some level of local approval. It's contingent upon that, and it's not, there's no provision in the state law for them to overturn local decisions on use permits.
This would be my question. We talk about the 600 acres of land. If that's in our comprehensive plan, and we've already reached that point, are we being protected then?
In my opinion, yes.
Okay, that's my.
It's a defensible position for sure.
Because we're telling them why, because our comprehensive plan.
we're already full.
And that's all we're doing right now, is to make sure that when we go back to them, we can say, okay, our comprehensive plan says X number of acres, and we've already met that X number of acres, and that's our reason why the board denied.
And that would be part of the argument, but you can also use stuff like, I'll give you an example of one project that is sitting, which now you say they withdrawn and want to do data center, but they can come back and want to do some whatever. But that project sits right in the middle of wetlands. So instead of saying like we did in the past, we just don't want it, we don't like the way it looks, so we're fearful, we have to come up with rationalization of why.
Regardless, whenever you, this, like I said, this applies to any zoning case. Whenever you make a recommendation for denial or approval, you need to give your reasons. They need to be legitimate reasons. And the comp plan gives you those reasons. If you notice, every time we do a staff report or the Berkeley group does a staff report, we give you sample motions. Those motions are pulled from the comp plan. That gives you the ammunition that if you do get challenged legally, you have your downloaded. Easiest way to say it. You have defensible reasons because that's what the comp plan states.
So we could also, am I correct in saying, where our other ordinance said that the close proximity to transmission lines would have to be within 1 mile or less, we could cut that to a half a mile. We could say the distance between projects, instead of being a mile and a half, or 2.5 miles, or 3 miles.
This says a mile or less.
That's just what they put in because what we had before. But now because what we're doing is we're being attacked at the state level, saying we don't like what Greensville County decided. So we're gonna play dirty pool, and we're going to take that local authority away from us that have to live. And we're saying in our comp plan, but you didn't regulate the comp plan. And we can use the comp plan as a legitimate basis for making our decisions. So we cut the distance to the transmission lines, the separation between projects. We cut, like this from 7,600 to 6,900 total acres, which have already been spoken for. And those things would help make a defensible position when the next people come knocking. And I'm not saying we deny everyone, I'm not speaking for everybody on that, but would give us a defensible position to deny. The other thing that was noted in Abigail Spanberger's positions and in her platform was that she wanted to see solar, and I think it should be in here, and I wrote that in my scribble scrap, that utility scale solar, if built in this county, should be built on
Because I'm right.
on formerly mined parcels, abandoned industrial sites, and brownfield.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's around.
And brownfield. Those three things should be in this ordinance. And then the other thing that I noticed in reading the comp plan, I've got a copy for part of it we didn't have tonight, says that less than 1% of our land in Greensville County, it's in our comp plan, is barren. Well, all of those things point to reasons of why we would deny a project to protect the agriculture and forest land. Why you need to put it on, and I'm just throwing this out, so if you're from Jarrett, don't panic, but like the abandoned GP site. Okay, it's abandoned industrial site that is sitting there half burned out. Why wouldn't you use that? And Abigail Spanberger basically said that in her position, why wouldn't you use that before you cut down those acres of trees or took that farmland out of production? So she made it clear in her positions that her focus on solar, she wanted to be on those areas, not on forest and agriculture.
That's a good position.
So that would give us a position by adding that language into the comp plan that's currently not in this section, along with tightening up all of those distances. And that would give us something if somebody rolls in here July the 1st, that we've got a position if we want to say that.
And didn't we used to have brownfield language?
Yes.
Let me, if y'all will suffer me tonight, I'm sorry. I know y'all probably wish I stayed in Tennessee. We suffer through with me now. Tomorrow, so I'm gonna pass this around. It's comp plan parts that we don't have tonight. And I have suggested language in these areas that would also strengthen our position. Not to say that we would have to do all those things tonight, because I know it's late. But when we had our working session, we could approve a temporary adjustment to the comp plan, have a working section, and maybe make a second adjustment. Because there are areas that I've sent you that talk about, where we could say in the section on forest, Greensville County forest land should be protected from overdevelopment of BESS and utility scale solar. Prime farmland, utility scale solar and BESS should not be built on or in proximity to these lands.
Can I touch on that really quickly? So when we do the 2232 review process, we look at the comprehensive plan holistically.
Right.
So if there are areas in the comprehensive plan, which I know they are, that are evaluation factors for solar, even beyond the amendment tonight, those could be inclusive of the review.
So we can add that in there.
They don't need to be. They're part of the plan currently in other sections of the plan that are relevant to the review, is what I'm saying.
Well, I read the whole comp plan and I don't know that I totally agree with that. I don't know why we wouldn't do everything possible to put the language we need in this plan to protect our farm and forest land.
So what I'm understanding you saying is that you've marked up content in the comp plan.
Yes.
So it's in there already.
No, I've added it.
Okay, you've added that.
I've added
Okay,
it.
that's what I was unclear about. Okay,
I've added language to strengthen our position.
I understand.
You want a copy?
I can get it from
Can't
Lynn.
read it. You can have to type these up, Chris.
Huh?
You can have to type these up.
I'll do before, if we have one meeting, I'll type it up. I was dealing with a baby boy in Tennessee doing this for like 3 or 4 days.
All right.
So,
Before we go any further, like we said, these are new developments are coming up. Well, a new development came up this week. So I'll give you 2 handouts.
hey, we still in public hearing?
Yes.
Do we need to ask for comments first? Because we did. We need to
Yes,
ask.
because I'm adding one to number 17 to that list of 16.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you why, man. If you will pass that around. Everybody get a chance to get it. Greensville County found out this week that there has been a proposal submitted to PJM known as PJM Proposal 275 was submitted by Dominion Energy. So I've got a whole lot more information than what I gave you, but I'll give you just a Reader's Digest version. Dominion wants to build a direct current line, taking all power from the Greensville Power Plant and the Brunswick Power Plant directly to Northern Virginia to service a data center in Northern Virginia. So it moves Southside power to Northern Virginia by local customers. All right. This local data center projects that we're working on now to try to bring millions of tax revenue to Greensville County, the city of Emporia, Brunswick, Sussex, and surrounding counties. This is gonna be a major problem for us, trying to get power to these sites due to the proposed northbound power flows suggested by this, proposal. So basically, all local power generated here for our, hopefully, data centers, manufacturers, and industries of Southside Virginia are going up north. So I got a few more details in here. So this is a 3,000 megawatt high voltage direct current line. This is not going on the grid. This is a direct line from us to Northern Virginia that will be used at one place. Starts here in Brunswick County and it ends at Mosby Station in Northern Virginia. This cost of this project will be bared by Dominion Power. So you know what that means?
We pay for it.
We pay for it. The customers. So why do we want the power to stay local? Number one, economic equity. Southside Virginia hosts the infrastructure, electrical infrastructure, but loses the benefit. Ratepayer fairness. Local customers subsidize Northern Virginia's growth. Lower system cost. If they would concentrate on getting that power to Southside Virginia versus going to Northern Virginia, look at the millions and millions and millions of dollars that was saved in long distance transmission construction. Grid resilience, geographic diversification strengthens reliability. So what do we need to do? We need to demand a local load first policy. Secure Southside capacity reservation for Greensville and Brunswick sites at the city of Emporia and surrounding locations. Require transparent cost benefit reporting from Dominion and PJM. Coordinate with state and local legislations on fair cost allocation and local load prioritization. And we need to market Southside Virginia as a grid-ready region. We had the power, we ought to use it here. This is how I feel. So this all came up yesterday. I found this out because a friend of mine was at a long distance shooting match in Northern Virginia. After talking to somebody to do about the PJM, what I call it, 527 or whatever. So I've got pages on it already, but I'm recommending tonight, and I just typed this up 30 minutes before the meeting.
Yes.
So this will be number 17 on that list table that I want to add. It states there's preference for locally generated power to be utilized locally to benefit industrial and other development. Applications for solar facilities and battery energy storage facilities shall demonstrate through information and materials how generated electricity will be utilized locally. I'd like to add that as number 17 to that table.
So I have a question.
We had a meeting,
If they've already made this proposal, is it too late for us?
No, State Corporation Commission has not held any public hearings or public comment on it yet. We have met with our delegates, we talked to our senators. We had a conference call yesterday with Rockland County, Peoria, Greensville County, and our delegates and senators, and a couple of these, local data center developers. So, we're going to pull all our resources together, hopefully get the Crater Planning District Commission, Southside Planning District Commission in, and we're going to fight for our electrical rights to be kept here in Southside Virginia. Yeah. But this is
number 17.
Yeah, that'd be number 17. I did this 30 minutes before we came here, so we put a lot of work and time since yesterday, since we got it. And it's ridiculous, I think.
It is.
We have a locally distressed community. If we can get one data site or two, we can lower property taxes, we can lower personal property. We will have money for schools, we have money for road infrastructure, you know. You know,
We're talking like doubling and tripling the budget.
we're talking about just one data center, $20 million a year.
That's almost the whole budget.
Yes.
Our budget's
Yeah.
21 million.
27.
27 this year.
27.
All right, that's just one data center.
Doubles the budget, almost.
So that's why we are here, trying to get these projects developed, and we got ready projects, we got everything in Mayback, and in Potterville, we got everything we need with power.
How are things coming on 58?
That pulled out because of, Sandberg's stuff.
Because they didn't.
To us, and they set out.
So we are still in public hearing.
We got off.
Do we, do we have any, public comments on the comprehensive plan, on Greensville County Comprehensive Plan, with regards to the amendment for the utility scale solar facilities and a battery energy storage systems? That is a lot to say.
Say, can I get a copy of that?
Yes, sir.
I'll take it to his house. He lives right down the road.
That was the same gentleman, right?
Yeah, it's the same.
Okay, I got you. You'll get everything
I'm gonna
tonight.
get everything to you, Mr. Taylor, everything.
Tight. Won't be the last time, first or the last time you hear from me.
Okay.
Definitely not. Your voice is important.
Angela Wilson, 4015 Slagles Lake Road. When I came to the podium earlier, I asked you to be diligent and to fight for the people of Greensville County, and I can see tonight that you are doing that, and I'm grateful. The recommendations that have been made so far for adjustments to the comprehensive plan sound really good, and I endorse the idea of putting as much as possible in the plan to provide the information that's needed for us to move forward with assessing future projects that come before you. So what you've put forward tonight sounds very good. Thank you.
Do we have any other public comment? Can we get a motion to go back into regular session?
Make a motion to.
It's been moved and properly second that we go back into regular session with regards to Greensville County Comprehensive Plan, utility scale solar and BESS. All in favor? Those opposed? back in. I have a question. Do we need to change 1E from 7,600 acres to 6,900 acres? That is my question, because that was the suggestion.
Make that motion to approve what's presented with changing the 7,600.
All right, so these, I've got some changes, can I go over those?
Hold on, there was something else you said too about, you said something about this one to 9 and less.
Okay, we just need to talk about, do we want to change them from the located in close proximity to a transmission line corridor?
Yeah, that's.
Do we want to cut that from a mile to a half a mile?
And look, make sure everybody knows where we are. We're in a attachment B, attachment B to A.
1B.
So do we want to change that to a half a mile? From a mile to a half a mile? And language that I also suggested including is that half a mile would be from the furthest edge away from the transmission line. So the furthest boundary from the transmission line, not the closest, but the furthest, would have to be within a half a mile of the transmission line. So they wouldn't get to say, okay, this edge, this close edge, but the project is this long. So we want to go from the furthest edge of the project. If not, they're gonna just, that's gonna be no big, that's not. Yeah. So you want to do a half a mile there, and then the distance between the projects, it's a comprehensive plan. Right now, it's 1.5 miles. You want to do 2.5 miles, 3 miles? I mean, it's up to us to make a recommendation of the distance between facilities. What this does is protect neighborhoods, so we can't be like Brunswick County and Triplet, and you've got thousands and thousands of acres because there's no limit between the distance of facilities.
Well, we could reduce the proximity to a half mile, cut that in half, and then double the
To go 3
space.
miles.
Go 3 miles.
3 miles.
We could travel 600 feet away from another solar.
Right.
So, like, you don't know what.
A half mile changes to a half mile
Or
and
680 feet.
D and 3 miles and 1E.
And 1.5 mile needs to be half mile or less from the furthest edge of the proposed solar facility. So in other words, if I've got a 500 acre project, okay, I could have the edge of that project could be within a half mile of the transmission
So
line.
what's you measure from? You measure from the boundary or you measure from the compound?
From the boundary. From the boundary, the furthest portion.
Because that would be consistent with how we would.
Have we
define
already
it
done things? Yes.
To measure from
He's
boundary.
talking about the furthest boundary, not the closest boundary.
That's correct.
Right.
That's correct.
We just have to define where we're measuring from point A to point B.
The boundary, from the boundary
Furthest
parcel.
property line. Parcel.
Yeah, the parcel, the furthest parcel boundary,
The furthest point
the furthest point.
from the parcel boundary to the.
Yeah. And then 3 miles from an existing project. And then the 6,900 acres to the limit. And I think we should go ahead and write and include at the beginning, in that first paragraph, utility scale solar, if built, should be built on formerly mined parcels, abandoned industrial sites, and brownfields. And I would go right in that very first introductory paragraph, right at the last sentence.
All right, brownfields and vacant industrial properties.
So you're talking about, just adding that.
It's an open and statement.
No, just one.
Yeah.
Repeat
Just add
that.
to one, add to one, not
Add
one
to
and
one,
one.
not one, just one.
Oh, to one.
Yeah, just part of that initial statement.
Read it again, Chris.
It would be utility scale solar, if built, should be built on formerly mined parcels, abandoned industrial sites.
Stop, I don't know where you
He's
are.
creating a whole new
This is
sentence
all
after
based on-
welfare.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Welfare, period.
Oh, okay.
Section one.
Okay, start over again.
So section one, the last, just add after welfare.
Brand new sentence.
Brand new sentence. Utility scale solar, if built, should be built on formerly mined parcels, abandoned industrial sites, and brownfields. And Mr. Kane was asking, could we put in there as stated or preferred by Governor Spanberg? As recommended by Governor Spanberg.
That's good language.
I mean, I think it's good language, it was her language, yeah. It's definitely her language.
Gives our position credibility.
It does, yes, it does. It does, it gives us more credibility. Yeah, we'll paraphrase it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Anything else?
All right, so in that language, half mile, 3 miles, 6 miles,
One other thing,
and on 17.
all right, size of the projects. Right now, it's 1,000 acres. Minimum, maximum size, 1,000 acres of any project. 1E. Change it to 300 or less of folks like. It's an E, 1E.
I see where it says 1,000 acres, less than 1,000 acres.
It says, so now we could say less than 300 acres. So we can prevent these massive sites from being next to
That's the 75%. If these 300 acres, they gonna be
5% of 300 acres. That's right. And you know, I've looked at some ordinances, and there are some counties that have the 300 is the largest in the land.
Well, it can't hurt. We can make it as bulletproof as we can.
We could be maxed out, but like Lynn said, he's not sure the county line is gonna be built or not.
See, that's-
So if we set that 6,900, that gives us another blob of over 1,500 acres that can come back.
That was huge.
Yeah, that was 21.
Right, that's right. So we'd be from between 100 and 300 with 75. So if that acreage became available, I believe it was, that acreage, if that project falls through, would come back available to the 6,900. What this does is says, no, none of these mega projects just destroy thousands and thousands of acres. If you're gonna do one, it's gonna have to be small.
It makes sense. If that was already approved, and the meaning, whoever's coming to it, why would we approve it now when they can develop that? That makes no sense to me. Yeah, I wouldn't want to approve it now, but that one has been approved, they can't make that work, then I was even consider it.
Horrific what's going on. Yeah, we don't even know about it.
So why we even get approved?
Right.
We don't.
So 300,
Well, I mean, we're just talking about decommissioning. I mean, we've addressed it in detail.
Our decommissioning language is adopted all over the state.
Yeah, we have good
Well, I'm saying,
language.
have we ever witnessed any?
And that's what she said.
No, 'cause-
No, it's not time. It's
Right,
not time.
that's what she said, we don't even know what that's gonna look like.
Right.
But we require them every 5 years to redo the estimate for viable surety.
How do we know from research in other places what it has not gone away at all?
It's too new everywhere.
Right.
So we wanna change this 1,000 to 300, is that what we're saying?
Y'all, do you think that, y'all think that's okay? They say yes. Okay.
Mike, you had anything you want to say?
No, I think y'all are fine.
Can I ask one other thing? I don't know, no, can get me after
We
this
said that,
information. I know. Can we still add on page 37, and it's in my handout, and I gave you page 37 of the comp plan, natural environment, and page 43 of the comp plan, farmland, prime farmland, and just add to the last paragraph, Greensville County, on the forest, it should say Greensville County forest land should be protected from the overdevelopment of best and utility scale solar.
Tell us where you are, James.
Page 37, it's the second page of the handout I gave you, that's the comp plan.
He wrote it in there.
So I read it, yeah. Greensville County, the last, Greensville County forest land should be protected from the overdevelopment of best and utility scale solar. You know, okay, and then if we go over to the next page under prime farmland, it's the last, added one sentence to that. It says utility scale solar and or best should not be built on or in proximity of these lands, which are the lands that are designated in there as prime and essential. Okay.
All right, so, I can read that one.
Don't you know what it says? You can read it.
That's right.
Those two, only two you recommended.
Page 37 and page 40.
Yeah. Not all the other.
Other stuff, but not for now. Okay. I have some other ideas, but we'll save it for another night. If we have that work session, I think we need to look at the comp plan more. There's stuff about PFA's testing requirements and things that we can put in here. It basically can hold developers accountable for testing by independent people that are not their people, but independent people to test, to tell us, hey, the water is still clean, your well water is clean, my well water is clean, or it's not. And hey, developer, pay up.
So we can have it done every so often, right?
Yeah, so we can, right, okay.
All right, guys, so, Commissioner Thompson said he's done for the night. So we would need a motion, staff changes, including the changes. I thought we were in regular session. We in a regular session. Oh, I thought we were in regular session. Can I get a motion to go back in regular session?
Make a motion.
Let's do it again.
Chris did regular session and Jessica second.
Okay, all right, so we're in regular session, okay.
Okay, now, back to the motion. Any other discussion?
I would like to make a motion to approve the amendments to the comprehensive plan with the changes recommended by Chris Thompson and the staff change to item number 17.
I second.
We got a second?
It has been moved and properly second that we make the amendments to our comprehensive plan. The changes suggested by Commissioner Thompson, as well as adding number 17 with the staff recommendations. We're gonna roll call vote.
All right, Mr. Kane.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson,
Yes.
Dr. Chapman,
Yes.
Ms. Robinson,
Yes.
Ms. Byrd,
Yes.
Ms. Hardy,
Yes.
Ms. Danforth.
Yes.
Are there, the motion carried. Are there any other items that we need to discuss tonight?
I'd like to make one comment before we go.
Yes.
I want to compliment the team that, of our citizens that stuck in here through all this long.
Yes.
And I want to comment on that, they gave us, some compliments about our work ethic. Thank you so much for that. I want to thank the Berkeley Group representative for sharing his insight to help us along this process. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson.
We got some more cell towers.
Yes, yes. Any other matters? Okay, so can we get a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right. So moved. I don't think y'all can vote on that. It was later, it was